The question is, are we live? And if we are, is everything flowing smoothly? So let's kick on over my channel to find out if we are. Hey guys, how you doing today? I am doing better and better. I'm still not 100%, but I'm certainly coming along. Looks like I can. But I'm certainly coming along. Yeah, okay, that sounds pretty good. So we're gonna drop that back down here to near null. Let's see if I can blip that out. I've got some social media posting to do now that I have my link here, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to regale you with my background story while I do that and ramble on about whatever it is that Phil's ramble about when they're loading up and starting to stream. So, but yeah, okay, great. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. I've been creating content here for the past year, building color mana mechanics for character options in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And I am, as a designer, I am stoked about 2024. I think it is the mechanics and the added resources and things that characters can just have access to now. And the way that I think that 5e's kind of like slightly been shifted, like it's been shifted offline a little bit, and it kind of feels a little different. And I like it. I like it. So I'm happy about that. As a designer, I have more resources and scaffolding to play with. The kind of way that I like to build things makes more sense in 5e24 than it did in the original 2014. I've always been kind of pushing what 5e14 could be, but I feel like 2024 has even like a wider splay of ways to bend character resources that lets me take all these cool little ideas that we have using color mana and actually make them bend into the character and make it work more smoothly across all the classes. So we, at this point, with the development of the martial power system that can use just either, focus key points, or if you want to get narrative about it, color mana, or even elemental mana, if you prefer. But with the MTG influences, Magic the Gathering fanboy that I am, of course, I want to build color magic systems. So here's the origin story, right? So I've been a DM. I've been running games in D&D since 1987, and I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since late 95. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been publishing content on the DMsGuild for 5th edition variant rules since 2017. I've got about 7 different books that are built at this point, utilizing color mana as a resource system instead of spell slots and the 8 schools of magic. We swapped those out for the 5 colors of magic and a mana pool where you can either just play it as generic spell points, where you're just saying, yeah, I'm going to cast Fireball. It's a red spell, so it has red effects. There you go. Or you could be really hard-nosed about it. And I've talked about this a number of times, but you can take a point of mana and assign it and devote it to red. And if you don't have any red mana, you wouldn't be able to cast Fireball. So you'd be managing the colors in your mana pool, tapping, untapping, burning different types of mana colors depending on what kind of spells you want to cast. So it's a really deep, mechanically narrative system. So the mechanics that you're using in spell casting to be able to use and maintain spells not only feels a lot more like Magic the Gathering, the card game, but it helps you build deeper developed characters because the mechanics that you put into your character are going to be reflective of the colors that you want to use to express the personalities of your characters. So there's a really fun ludonarrative meta mechanic that actually has game representation with the color of the magic that you're using, whether you're casting spells, using a magic item, or trying to untangle the lines of magic that are making this trap prevent you from being able to move forward. You can actually see what colors these things are, and you can untangle them or you can bend them. You can churn spells into other colors to have different sort of effects and looks if you want. So all of this stuff exists on the DMsGuild already. I will sponsor this episode as always with my own stuff. First off, I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you are as well, I'm at Phil Kearney. This is where I post my art and early look-sees, works in progress, links, and coupons to different books that I've created. If you're on the X Twitter platform, be welcome to tag along. On YouTube, click. There we go. Okay, great. So here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications of when we're live in the future. There are a stack of books that I've created. Here's all the color mana books right here. So if you click on that, it takes you to DM's Guild here, and here's all the books involving color mana that we've created so far. And we're rebuilding all of them now that we have the 5e24 rules. That's what we're doing today. We're taking the Sorcerer. See, we have a Spellpoint Warlocks book, and we have an Elemental Key book, which was for the Way of the Four Elements, which was now a defunct monk subclass, right? So they have the Elementalist now, which doesn't work the same. But when this came out, it was looking at monks as being half-casters, like paladins and rangers, with elemental-themed stuff. There's air, earth, fire, and water, or if you wanted to use the Magic the Gathering color mana system, there's red, blue, and green. So either red, blue, green for your Magic the Gathering characters, or if you wanted to do an Avatar Last of the Airbenders campaign, air, earth, fire, and water. And so we'll eventually take this elemental system outside of the DM's Guild and probably publish something using Creative Commons for the ttrpg. So we'll begin doing work out there. So keep an eye out for that. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you want to see more of it. Knights and Tricksters. This was for the Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters. Specific rules for them. This is just a very simple universal mana system. 1 spell point is per level of spell. First level spell, 1 point. 9th level spell, 9 points. If you're going to use the core mechanic, we're currently rebuilding the core mechanics book here. So if you peel this open, all my books are free preview. So if you peel it open here, you can see all 75 pages in this book. If we glomp our way down here to, let's go to spellcasting. We rebuilt all of the traditions of color subclasses for the wizard on Saturday last week when I last streamed. And then next we have the Spellpoint Warlocks book as its own complete book, and we're giving a lot more attention to Sorcerers. Before it was a single column. We're going to do the full scaffold and build for all the classes. Here is the Spellpoint Warlock document that we've been working on. And technically, this is episode I think 6 of working on the Spellpoint Sorcerer. So I'm currently using this horizontal format, and I need to fix it because if I'm going to go with this control panel aspect of PDF, then I want to use the 16:9 aspect ratio so that it'll properly align on all the different devices that we use. It goes like that and there. Yep. 16, just about 16. Yep, 16:9. I've got a tablet here at 16:9 ratio. I've got a phone here that's 16:9. I'm doing this because I'm lining up the edges of my phone with my monitor, and sure as shit, the dimensions of my phone are exactly the same as the monitor that I'm using. These widescreen monitors that we use nowadays, everything's at a 16:9 ratio, basically. So if you build your document at a 16:9 ratio, then it fits on your tablet. I don't print books because I don't see color, ironically. So I can never really trust the color proofs that I get back from any book that would be created using my work in color. So I would, if I'm going to do print work, it's going to be black and white, but I like working in color when I'm doing DM's Guild stuff, so I'm going with this control panel format. So anyway, Spellpoint Sorcerer, this will all be on DM's Guild once we build it as well. I'm just waiting for the DM's Guild, the Dungeon Master's Guide to drop in the next couple weeks to have full access to it, so that I will have all the bibs and bobs at the back end on the DM side to see what needs to be taken care of, just to flesh out, to make sure we've covered all our bases. But you can check out the past few episodes if you want to see how all this stuff works. When we last left off, we were looking at innate sorcery, and then we were working on meta magic options. We have 23 meta magic options right now. Yeah, we have 24. There's 24 meta magic options that take anywhere from 1 to 4 mana to be able to use, and your scaling for your sorcery scales with half casting, starting at 2nd, 5, 9, 13, 17. So as you gain levels, you can expend more mana on meta magic on top of the spell that you're going to cast. So like a 5th level character has a max spell limit of 3. So if I'm like throwing that fireball, I'm going to spend 1 point of red mana and 2 points of whatever other color I want, to have my 3 mana. And then I can tack on another 2 points of mana to do 2 mana worth of meta magic effects. And so the list of meta magic that we have down here either costs 1, 2, 3, or 4 points of mana. So by the time we get to level 13, we can maximize damage. This is all being pulled basically from 3rd edition. I was a really big 3rd edition meta magic enthusiast, and they let you stack magic up like this. And I typically played, back in the day when it was 3.0, 3.5, before Pathfinder even existed, we were running campaigns. There's about a squad of about 5 to 6 of us. It'd be anywhere from 4 to 6 people, maybe like 3 times per week in our 20s is basically. We would have level 18 to 32 is the range that we would typically operate. Once we got from level 1 to level 20, that took I think it took about 4 years for us to get there. And once we did, we just stayed at that. By that time, the Epic level handbook had come out, I believe. And so we had access to the Epic level handbook, and we could just basically stack classes forever. So once we got up to that 20 level mark, we stayed at the 18 to 32 range because it was awesome. It was super cool. But I spent a good 6 years at that Epic level of play in 3rd edition. So I've had a ton of opportunities to do stack and stack and stack of meta magic. I'm really comfortable with it. When 5th edition came out, it's actually a step down in power from what 3rd edition was. 3rd edition numbers were insane. Hundreds of damage, no problem. This and like DCs in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and it had Pathfinder scaling for ability bonuses. So you really had to have shit keyed in. And once your barbarian gets up to like around 425 hit points, you're kind of like, what the hell is going on with this game? So it get really crazy. So 5th edition, with its very simple 1 to 20 level splay and the reduction in overall power that all the classes have, 5th edition sits very comfortably inside the design space of 3E. Like, you can take basically any idea, literally, if you want to design something and you want something cheap to do, but legit, like with actual effort, get a 3rd edition book. Any 3rd edition book with character options in it. You can convert the entire thing into 5th edition, either as feats, spells, items, monsters, subclasses, backgrounds, or adventures. It's insane. It's such a great thing. So this is taking just a handful of meta magic powers that have been splayed across 20 books in 3rd edition. Just picking some of the best. I'm 1 short, so I need to go fetch 1 more at some point. But this is just a good mix. So what we're going to do, we built out all these meta magics. We're pretty happy with where they're sitting. I've been playtesting this in a Curse of Strahd campaign for the past 8 months, from level 1 to 5, and it's playing really well. It plays exactly how I'd expect it to. It feels like a 3rd edition character, but it's using 5th edition mechanics. So I'm using a white-green Selesnya style divine sorcerer that worships Selûne in Forgotten Realms in the Ravenloft campaign. So all of my moon magic is being portrayed as Selesnya white and green magic, which is, well, let's just to pontificate for another moment before we actually get to work on the subclasses for the sorcerer. Let's go up and look at the revised color mana spell list. This is a more advanced format of the color devotion system than what we have in the core mechanics. This has come out since then, and I knew I was going to have a revision with 5e24, so I was just waiting for 5e24 to get published. Like, now we'll be integrating this into the core mechanics book, and this is just going to be a coupon basically from now on. But we'll revise this to be accurate for the 5e24 spell list with the classes, blah blah blah. So as you can see here, let's see, what were we talking about? Divine Sorcerer. The Divine Sorcerer, I'm using Bless, which is a white spell. I've got, what else do I have? I've got, of course, Guiding Bolt. I've got like 21 points of mana, and Guiding Bolt only costs 1. It's the most efficient fucking spell in the game. And it's the staple of the entire party. We've got a ranger, we've got a druid, we've got a paladin, and we have a bard. but I'm the only real blaster in the party. The fighter ranger is an Echo Knight Gloomstalker, so he's great for melee stuff. But I help add support. I wish we had a rogue in the party so that the guiding bolts would be able to provide advantage on demand. But as it were, I'm able to lay down a lot of damage in the campaign and still have enough resources left for being able to pour out abundant cure spells. Cure wounds is white and green, right? So white. You should check this book out again. You can just look at the free preview here. Revised color magic. It's here in this list here, but basically like web, bless, guiding bolts, cure wounds, a magic weapon is a white spell, and then I have 3 different meta magics. Careful spell, subtle spell, and extended reach, so that with 1 point I can turn a touch spell into a 5-foot area, and if it has a range, it doubles the range. And for 2 points, I can double the range of the touch spell to be 10 feet instead of 5. So that's all the spells and the meta magic I have, and honestly, it's enough. So when we gain the next level, I'll have the 3rd level spell that I have. What 3rd level spell do I have? It's for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. Hold on. Let's look. Here's the character. I have 21 mana. Typically, I have 15 of it devoted to white and 6 to green. And whenever I take a short rest, I can recalibrate however much mana I have. So however much mana at the moment, however much healing the team needs, I can dump healing into them. And then we take a short rest for them to also chew up some resting hit dice. And then I can reconfigure however much mana I have left over. I can recalibrate to be either white or green. Oh, there it is, Counterspell. And it's a reaction. It's a 3rd level spell, so it requires 1 white and 2 or whatever. 2nd level spell, Web. It's naturally a green spell, so it's 1 green and 2 whatever. Magic Weapon is a 2nd level white spell, so it's 1 point of white and 1 of whatever. And then, Spiritual Weapon is the other one for my bonus action economy. So I have a bonus action to attack with Spiritual Weapon, and then I have the 1 point mana Guiding Bolt, which I can just spam. So at any given day, I've got so basically every round of combat that we anticipate having per day, I can always cast. Guiding Bolt if necessary. Between me, the Druid, and the Paladin, we all have Guiding Bolt. The Bard, we just picked up a Bard. I think he has Guiding Bolt. No, he doesn't yet. He's going to get Guiding Bolt once we get to 10th level. And our fighter is going to take Spell Initiate, so he can have Guiding Bolt as well. Guiding Bolt as well. It's just we're constantly just throwing sparkle bombs at everything. It's so fun. But yeah, and then that's right, 2 sorceries. Quicken Spell and Careful Spell. That's right. And then my cantrips are Guidance, Resistance, Ray of Frost, Mending, Dancing Lights. There you go. So it's just a human investigator background. And we killed that green dragon at the beginning of the adventure, and I ate its heart. And the DM gave me a permanent +1 to my Constitution for eating its heart. And now there's a thing between me and dragons, but I haven't ran into any in Ravenloft yet. But maybe we'll get there. Oh yeah, and I took the Warcaster feat, so I can use the Warcaster feat to cast Sparkle Bomb on somebody with an opportunity attack if I want. So anyway, so there's all that, and so yeah, and then the other books, Spellpoint Warlocks. Here's the martial power stuff. If you click into that, that'll take you to the document. If you click martial powers here, that'll take you to the playtest content that we'll be using to reference material today. And it's 146 pages. We're going to whittle that down. But it's got the DM section, all the character options for level 1 to 20 for all the martial classes. And at the very back end of the book, last session when we were here, we built all the traditions of magic for color while we revised them for 5e24. Definitely, the black magic is my absolute favorite. With the Inured to Necrosis, which is you control black magic, inoculates you from its baleful effects. You have resistance to necrotic damage. Your hit point maximum can't be reduced. And as a concentration effect, you can ignore 1 exhaustion level For each point of black mana you tap to do so, up to 5. So with the color mana system, we have stacked concentration. So whatever your maximum spell level is the amount of mana that you can maintain concentration. If it's if you're 5th level and you can have up to 3rd level spells and you're like concentrating on haste, that's 3 mana. That's all you get. But like you could, for instance, have Blur, I think, is the 2nd level spell, and like Expeditious Retreat is a 1st level spell. I think those are both, if I recall offhand, those are both concentration spells. So a 5th level wizard would be able to concentrate on both of them at the same time. A 11th level wizard would be able to maintain concentration on multiple haste spells at the same time, or multiple hold person spells at the same time, or multiple suggestions, or blah, 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 blah. You can stack the effects. But again, this isn't anything that's more powerful than what was already inside of 3rd edition, which, again, I've had comfortable use of as a player and a DM for over 10 years from level 1 to 32. Half of that time was spent above level 20. So I'm really comfortable with these really high power numbers. 5th edition pulled all that back down to more sensible numbers. The action economy and the effect of being able to maintain multiple spells at the same time are mitigated by, hold on, this will be my last mini rant. You can go check it out yourself though, but I love talking about this shit, so my life. Let's go back to, oh yeah, here's our stack of books, and I'll take you back to, let's go back to, you can get here by clicking this link here, DMsGuild. There you go. And then you go down to the core mechanics. And then you open up the full preview. Hey, 5 previews now. 5 stars. Awesome. Thank you. Whoever gave them to me, thank you. Bless you. Let's look at simplified durations, variant concentration rules. Here we go. So tapping mana. You can maintain a number. So you can tap mana, and you can tap as much mana as you have your maximum spell level, and you can stack them up. So like here, I don't know why I needed to open this up, but oh, that's right. The attrition mechanics. That's important. So the way the balancing point against all of this, being able to maintain all of these spells at the same time, the balancing factor is attrition. So attrition is whenever the DC to maintain concentration increases. It goes, it's 10 plus however many points of mana you have maintained. Maintaining concentration on a cantrip is 0, so it's a DC 10. Maintaining concentration on a 9th level spell is 19. 5th level spell is 5. 2 5th level spells would be a DC of 20, 10 plus 10. So whenever you take damage, it's going to be half the hit points taken or your adjusted concentration DC, whichever is higher. And whenever you make a saving throw at all, for whatever reason, any stat, you also have to weigh it against your concentration DC. So if I make a dexterity saving throw to avoid a fireball, and the save DC to the fireball is 15, but I'm holding 10 points of mana online, my DC is 20. If I roll a 17, I successfully saved and took half damage from the fireball, but I failed my concentration DC, so I lose all my spells. So there you go. High risk, high reward. It really changes the way that your characters approach combat. They're much more fragile because you're not attacking the character's hit points. You're attacking their resources and their buffs, which makes them vulnerable. So they'll approach combat more methodically or carefully, or they'll be reckless as they are, and they'll just make sure they don't maintain lots of power. They'll keep their shit low unless they plan to get the upper hand and protect the casters, which gives the martial characters a much more valuable traditional role of being important to prevent enemies from getting to the back line. So again, if you want to look at the martial power system here, it provides, while you're here, by the way, if you're interested, we're currently doing signups for the martial power system. So if you are interested in playtesting, you are certainly welcome to join for $1. You get an automatic seat at the table, assuming you can play when you want. Anyone that is signing up has first right. Otherwise, I'll be opening it up to my general Patreon next week. But if you are interested in this martial power system here, all you gotta do is click here, and it'll take you to the document that we're looking at here, and it has all the mechanics for martial characters from level 1 to 20, with all the subclasses that are published in the 2024 book, with 180 different combat mechanics, different martial powers that are either cantrip-like that cost no mana, or cost anywhere from 1 to 4 mana on a half-casting progression. Yeah, so this is a... martial characters don't have to maintain concentration. They aren't spells. They're aggressive, instant, and self-sustained effects. So you don't maintain concentration when you are a martial character because you're getting hit in the head all the time. You're going to have to constantly make saving throws. The power system doesn't require that. If you're a spellcaster, you are going to have to maintain concentration. And if you're a multi-class, if you're a split-class ranger or paladin, you could sustain powers while maintaining concentration as well. So you have that crossover effect, which is kind of fun. So, but all those rules are in here, and we're going to start playtesting inside of a mega dungeon, an old school Beckney style dungeon crawl at 3rd level, 4th level, up through 10th level, starting in November, going through April. So if you're interested, jump into my Discord channel, raise a hand if you want to have first rights of access. Join my Patreon so that you get preferential access. And we're going to step aside from all this stuff for now and actually get to work. So let's go to the new rules, and let's go to the classes. And we'll go to the Sorcerer. There. Click on through. Okay, so we've got what? Aberrant, Clockwork, Draconic, and Wild Magic Sorcerers to build. So we've got our master document here at the very back end, around page 140 plus. We've been building out subclasses. So I'm going to take this here. We have the Sorcerer, almost the entire core scaffold resolved. We just haven't built the subclasses, and we just need to fix the spell lists, and then I can technically start building this out for publication. So we'll probably start doing that maybe as soon as tomorrow. Maybe. So I might just have to bring this to market. When it's ready, right? So in the mornings, Monday through Friday, I do work on my Eberron project. I'm publishing an adventure for Eberron in 5th edition on the DMsGuild, and we're doing all the artwork right now. We've been doing the layouts in the evenings when I'm not on stream and I'm not at my day job, or I'm not hanging with family. I'm working on the layouts of the Eberron book. Once that's done, we publish that, and all these different mana books become my primary project. And then we'll be working on Armies, Guilds, and Kingdoms, my solution to mass combat and the Bastion system that we've been working on for the past 3 years. You can see the prelude of that stuff in my Spelljammer book. So, but once the Eberron clears my plate, then all these projects rack forward, and we start churning out 2024 color magic content. Spellpoint Sorcerers, Spellpoint Artificer, Spellpoint Warlock, Core Mechanics, Knights and Tricksters. We can start doing Strixhaven, Theros, and Ravnica focused stuff. We'll be probably publishing maybe like Kalishtar and maybe some Kaldheim on my Patreon, and I'm really thinking about Innistrad for Ravenloft conversion. So, but I can't actually reference Innistrad on the DMsGuild because it's not an official setting yet. So I might just have to do Innistrad conversions on my Patreon. So stick around. If you think this stuff's cool, thanks. I appreciate it. So this is the This is the Spellpoint Sorcerer document, and we're going to build the subclasses here inside of the Martial Powers document at the back end of it, like way at the back end, like page. We're on page 140. Yeah, we're on page 140 right now. So we're gonna rename this to Sorcerer, and let's just grab some subclass stuff. That should be sufficient. I know there's 4 of them, so let's do that. That. Let's see. I'm going to pull this out as its own separate document. And let's drop into here. And let's look at... hold on real quick. Three, 6, 14. That's right, and 18. Huh. I keep thinking about this because there's a very broad unity for subclasses being 3, 6, 10, 14. But there's also 18. So 3, 6, 10, 14, 18. That 5 levels there, I'm looking at. I'm gonna probably spend a lunchtime sometime soon here on stream, and just kind of broaden our lens on what are we seeing happening at all those levels specifically across the classes, because there may be a way for us to build in Strixhaven, Strix classing after all, if there is a consistent enough presence. I know the Paladin throws things off with level 20. So 3, 6, 10, 14, 18, 20. And then there's the odd number ones. But they're weird. So we might want to look at them as their own scaffold. But I'm seeing it. We already know the Barbarian, the Wizard, the Druid, and what was it? And the Warlock. Those 4 classes have 3, 6, 10, 14 as their base scaffold. So we have a martial character, 2 full casters, and the Warlock all using that same scaffold. The Ranger is 3, 7, 11, 15. It's 1 level off for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think it needs to be. So if I were to rebuild this, like say with an elemental magic core on the drive-through RPG using Creative Commons, or the community content license, I would rescaffold them all as 3, 6, 10, 14. Just tweak Ranger a touch and have full caster, Warlock, half caster, and then martial characters all lining up on that 3, 6, 10, 14 spread, and then have the Warlock short rest resource with high end once per day system, so we can have everybody on a short rest mechanic, have a scaffold of invocations that can be segmented by class. So you can have your Sorceress invocations, your Druidic invocations, your Divine invocations, your Martial invocations. So you can have a spread of those, so you can kind of kit bash together your own Martial caster, where you're either leaning in, like when you hit level 11, you're either diving further into high magic, gaining high-level spell slots, or you're going to be getting more resources for you to be able to do more and more advanced martial power maneuvers. So it's like, or you can split class it. You can split class low end and you can split class high end. Since it's all build a bear, it's build a beast, basically build a monster of a class. But it's all using that same scaffolding, which is inspired by the DMsGuild's book called Master of None, which is actually a really cool thing to take a look at. But by having a much more simplified scaffold that everything fits into, and then you have swap out mechanics at different base levels, you can effectively turn everything into either a feat or an invocation, and then just have the level limit to where they get slotted in. You get X amount of slots, and then there you go. So very, very simple way to do it. It just takes a little time to build it out. And so stick around for that. I will have that available for folks in the future. Let's see. And then you can really dive off the deep end with different type of mechanical systems. But I'll be using an elemental, the 4 elemental system. Or maybe I'll go look at Legend of the Five Rings and maybe borrow their 5 mana system. Let's see. We want to look at... I wanted to see what they were called. You gain a sorcerer subclass. The subclass is a specialization that grants you features. Okay, so that's what that is. Let's go look at the aberrant. Aberrant sorcery. Oh, that's what they call it. Sorcery. Aberrant sorcery. And clockwork sorcery. I like that. I actually like that title. Oh wait, I'm doing this backwards. Wild magic sorcery. Draconic sorcery. I have no idea how long it's going to take to convert this, so this might not take long at all. I honestly don't know. Clock word and aberrant sorcery. There we go. Anyone who's got any questions that are catching any here live or in the future, of course, be welcome to ask live in chat or drop into the comments down below or join my Discord channel, which is down below, and just ask me directly. I'm online frequently, so be welcome to catch up with me anytime you please. Aberrant Sorcery, flavor text included here. 3, level 6. And pop pop boop. And pop pop boop. This will be 18. This will be 14. This will be 10. I'm just going to grab all this again real quick here. Just roll over these so I can get all my scaffolding set up so we can just punch through these. If this resolves quickly, I think we'll go back and chew on the Warlock. How about that? I don't think there's a lot I need to do for the Warlock at all, honestly. But I am more than happy to chew on it. Let's bring this guy back up here. Blah. So back up to Aberrant. Let's find out more about you. So we've got the actual color mana scaffold build here in a Word document over because I use Word for my layout program. Don't hate me. But yeah, Word. So we have all the scaffolding built out, the spell points. We integrate the sorcery points into the mana pool. So a sorcerer has a long rest pool of 100 at 20th, starting with 3 because they're special. They get 3 instead of 2. And 3 prepared spells that eventually scales up to 25. The spells that you prepare can either be actual spells from level 1 to 9 or meta magics. You can have as many meta. You can have all 25 meta magics if you want, and just use them on cantrips. That's fine. You are welcome to do that. There you go. So you integrate them all together. Maximum spell level is 10. The maximum sorcery as a half-caster, half-casting progression, you can sorcery up to 5 points at a time. And again, you can stack these things. So like we were talking about before, you could have you could throw a fireball for 3 mana, 1 red and 2 whites. And then you can add on Careful Spell. And then when you cast a spell that affects other creatures that you can see, you can spend 1 mana to choose a number of them up to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. A chosen creature automatically succeeds on its saving throw against the spell and takes no damage if it would normally take half damage on a successful save. So a 5th level character has access to second rank meta magic and 3rd level spells. So 3 points on the fireball, now 1 point on Careful, And what other 1 point might we want to lob to have more fun? We could use Distance Spell. Let's see. Corroding Spell means that you're going to deal acid or necrotic damage instead of like fire on a fireball. That might be okay. Distance Spell, you can cast a spell that you can double its range. Empowered Spell. You can spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll a number of damage dice up to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. So if I throw a fireball, my charisma is 18. I could re-roll 4 of the 6-sided dice. But I got to use the new rolls, so I'll just take the low crappy ones. Or I could extend the spell, which is... Oh, it doesn't have a duration. Let's see. Impeding Spell. When you cast a spell that deals damage, creatures affected reduce their movement by half until the start of their next turn. So I could use a Careful Spell to not hit my allies, but everyone else that gets hit by the fireball and now has their speed reduced by half. Maybe I just lobbed that to help my friends get away. They need to run away? Great. Oh, wait, I could... Am I still on first level spells? First rank minimap? Yeah. So I could use Lifelink, which is you can cast a spell that deals damage. When you cast a spell that deals damage, you can gain 1d6 temporary hit points for each additional point of mana you spend this way, up to your maximum sorcery limit. So I'd only have 1 point available, so I'd get d6 temporary hit points. That's not such a great deal. Poisoning Spell, but like if I'm like 9th level, I can do 3d6 every time I lob one of these things. Poisoning Spell, when I cast the spell damage, I can convert. You can change the type to poison, and creatures affected make a Constitution saving throw or are poisoned. I can do radiant damage. I can make it quiet. Transmuted Spell that deals damage, I can change it to Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder. And then, oh yeah, Twin Spell. When you cast a spell that targets only 1 creature and doesn't have a range of self, you can spend a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level to target a second creature in range with the same spell. 1 sorcery point if the spell is a cantrip. To be eligible, a spell must be incapable of targeting more than 1 creature at the spell's current level. For example, Magic Missile and Scorching Ray aren't eligible, but Ray of Frost and Chromatic Orb are. So those are the first level things that you can do. And then they continue to get crazier and crazier as you gain levels. So, but hey, if you're interested, check it out. But yeah, we have all these rules here for reference. So let's see what happens here. The way that the rules work here is we'll go down to, hold on real quick. Wizards gain all their subclass ability features with the below modifications. If a feature isn't described here, it remains unchanged as written in the player's handbook. So we only have to make mention of things that do change. If I don't mention it, no changes. So let's go up here to the front end. Sorcerer. Oh, I hit F12 on accident. There. Sorcerer subclasses. There. All right, finally, getting into it. Let's see, features. Psionic spells. When you reach a sorcerer level specific in the psionic spells table, you thereafter always have the listed spells prepared. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spells. Nice. And telepathic speech. You can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of another. As a bonus action, choose 1 creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You and the chosen creature can communicate telepathically with each other while the 2 of you are within a number of miles of each other equal to your charisma modifier. To understand each other, you each must use until you use a language the other knows. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level. It ends early if you use this ability to form a connection with a different creature. Well, we can just do that. We can just do better. Telepathic speech. Because you start with a mana pool, we can abuse it forever. So let's see. This is where we want to be at. This is where we want to go. Telepathic speech. And then let's open up this here. A deep burp. Beep. You can form a telepathic speech. You can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of another. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You and the chosen creature can communicate telepathically with each other while the two of you are within a number of miles of each other equal to your charisma modifier, minimum 1 mile. To understand each other, you each must mentally use a language the other knows. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level. It ends early if you use this ability to form a connection with a different creature. Okay. You can choose to tap 1 mana to continue sustaining the effect indefinitely while you maintain concentration. Again, you can maintain multiple spells. So at first level, this allows you the opportunity to put in a coin to extend the conversation indefinitely, right? So you put in a point of mana. And then it ends early if you use this ability to form a connection with a different creature. And let's double check to see when you're casting a spell level 1, you can cast it by expanding spell slot as normal, expand number of points. You can cast a spell. Sorcery point requires no verbal somatic components. It requires no material components unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost specific to it. Okay, so that is a metamagic power. Psychic defenses, you have resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage. Revelation of flesh. You can unleash the aberrant truth within yourself. Doing a mic check real quick. Something in my brain just popped and said to do a mic check real quick, so I'm going to test my own volume. Mic check real okay, quick. Sounds like it's good. Hekoma Matata. Psychic defenses, revelation of flesh. As a bonus action, you spend 1 sorcery point or more to magically alter your body for 10 minutes. For each sorcery point you spend, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effects of which last until the alteration ends. You gain swim speed, glistening flight, 1 point, alter your body for 1 minute, glistening flight, see the invisible, worm-like movement, warping implosion. You can unleash a space warping anomaly as a magic action. You teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 120 feet of yourself immediately after you disappear. Each creature within 30 feet of the space you left must make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed check, a creature takes 3d10 force damage and is pulled straight towards the space you left, ending in an unoccupied space as close to your former space as possible. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage only. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 mana. Easy peasy. Okay, cool. So what I want to do doesn't exist yet, so we get to do it and be ourselves. At higher levels, you can form a connection, a telepathic connection with as many creatures as your max rank of sorcery. At higher levels, you can form the telepathic connection with as many creatures as your max rank of sorcery. You can the ability only ends early if you end at higher levels, you can form the telepathic connection with as many creatures as your max rank of sorcery. The ability and you can change who you are connected to while you maintain concentration. And while sustained, you can swap who you are connected to No, I'm going to leave that be. It ends early. At higher levels, you can form the telepathic connection with as many creatures as your max rank of sorcery. And the effect ends early if you to continue sustaining the effect while you maintain concentration, ending when you end concentration. Period. Otherwise, it ends early. Otherwise, it ends early if you use this ability to form a connection with a different creature. At higher levels, you can form the telepathic connection with as many creatures as your max rank of sorcery, and the effect ends early only if you end concentration or I want you to be able to swap in and out different participants of a conversation as a bonus act. That's what it is. Sorcery, and you can add or remove as your max sorcery rank. period, each connected creature can communicate with every participant each creature can communicate with each other and while maintaining concentration, you can swap creatures. You can add or remove. Add and remove. You can add and remove additional creatures up to your maximum number as a bonus. And as a bonus action while maintaining concentration, comma, you can add or remove telepathic any number of creatures to one creature. Each connected creature can communicate with each other, and as a bonus action while maintaining concentration, you can add or remove connection to one creature. You can add or remove the connection to one creature. I think that makes sense. I'll have an editor pass over this stuff to make sure it reads clean. But that's how I want it to work. We already have a set scaffold for scaling, for self-referencing scaling of power, which is our max sorcery limit, which starts with 1, and at 5th level it becomes 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can give you something at 1st level, and as you gain higher numbers, which is what it says, at higher levels you can form the telepathic connection with as many creatures as your max rank of sorcery. Each connected creature can communicate with each other, and as a bonus act, this is basically Rary's telepathic bond at a lower level. So otherwise it just operates the same. So that is our 3rd level feature. This will be our level 6 feature, which may not be necessary. Oh, and, it's the 10th that's missing. That's right. All right, so let's look at what the 6th level average is doing. Sonic spells, no changes. That's fine. Sonic sorcery. That's fine. Psychic defenses. You have resistance to psychic damage. And you have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end charmed or frightened conditions. There's no need to change that. So that's our 6, 14, and then 18. 14 is psychic defenses. So we don't need a 6. That's just fine. Psychic defenses. I'm going to take a sip of water. How you guys doing today? Oh, is that 6? Oh, yeah, Sonic Sorcery is 6. When you cast any level 1 plus spells from the Sonic list, you can cast it by expending a spell. Oh, yeah, we do need to change that. Thank you. So that was 3, 6, 14. I don't. 3 and 3 and is. Okay, so that's going to be 18, Warping Implosion. This is going to be 10, Revelation in Flesh, right? No, 14, right. 18, 14, thank you. 18, okay, so... Warping Implosion. And then we have Revelation in Flesh. And then we have Psychic Defenses, which is going to be 6. Is Psionic Sorcery, is that 3 or is that 6? Because we have Telepathic Speech and Psionic Spells at 3rd already. Maybe the Legacy version can tell us, because it fucking doesn't tell us. It just I hate that. I have no idea. I'm guessing. When the hell do I get Psionic Spell? It's infuriating. So I'm going to hope that these features existed in 2014. It just seems does anyone know? Does anyone have a printed book? Does it tell you what level you get these fucking things at in the actual printed player's handbook? Or is it actually ambiguous like this? This is driving me batty. Sonic Sorcery. See, here it says it's a fucking 6th level aberrant, but how would I know that? And Psychic Defense is at 6 as well. Okay, fine. It's really frustrating. Thank you, Creative Cloud. No. Alright, so we do have this. Cool. It's really frustrating that I don't just know. Am I crazy? Am I the only one? Is no one else having this problem? Is it obvious to everyone but me? I don't get it. Psionic Sorcery. Oh, this is fucking clockwork. Whatever, dude. Variant speech. Fucking Crash Journey. Sonic Copy. Copy. When you cast any level 1+ spell from your psionic spells feature. And let's go back and look at psionic spells and see if those swap or if they always stay the same. When you reach a sorcerer specified level, your thereafter always have the list of spells prepared. Blah, 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 blah. When you cast any level 1+ spell from your psionic spells feature, you can cast it by expending a spell slot as normal or by spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level. If you cast the spell using sorcery points, it requires no verbal or somatic components, and it requires no material components unless they are consumed. So when you cast any level 1+ spell, aren't they all level 1+ spells? Isn't that kind of redundant? Oh, there's a cantrip. Mind Sliver. Okay. So when you cast any level 1+ spells from your psionic spell feature, you can cast it when you cast any level 1+ spells from your psionic spells feature, it requires no verbal or somatic. It's just because all we have is mana, and they're all sorcery points. Oops, all sorcery points. So this always is effective. So psionic sorcery. Whenever you cast this, whenever you cast one of your psionic spells, you don't have a verbal, somatic, or a material component cost. So, cheers. Rary's telepathic bond. We get that at sorcerer level 9. Up to 8 willing creatures. It lasts 1 hour. Yeah, that's not bad. That's normally enough. But it's a 5th level spell slot. So we're allowing you, by the time you get to 9th level, you can do 3 or you can use telepathic bond with 5. So, you know what? And this is up to 8. Until the spell ends, the target can communicate telepathically through bonds, distance, any distance, though it can't extend to other planes of existence. That kind of makes the connection kind of pointless for us. So we're just gonna get raries at 9th, which is when you would normally be able to do 3 people. This is letting you do 8 and it's unlimited. Let's do it like it's 1st level, 5th level, 9th level. Yeah, let's do it that way. At higher levels, you can form you can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of others. You and the chosen creature can communicate telepathically with each other while the two of you are within a number of miles of each other equal to your charisma modifier, a minimum of 1 mile. To understand each other, you must mentally use a language the other knows. You can add additional creatures to the connection up to your charisma modifier. The total number of creatures to the connection
up to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. Each requires a separate bonus action. Telepathic Connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level. You can choose to tap 1 mana to continue sustaining the effect while you maintain concentration, ending when you end. Ending when you end. Ending when you untap the mana. Expend the mana. We changed the language for 2024. Otherwise, it ends early if you use this ability to form. You can add or remove connections to another creature. Cut. Each connected creature can communicate. Each creature cut. Rebuilding. As a bonus action, choose a number. Choose 1 creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. While creatures are within a number of miles of each other equal to your charisma modifier. It might have others. Up to a number equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. Charisma modifier. Interesting. You can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of other creatures, up to a number equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. As a bonus action, choose a number of creatures up to your charisma modifier, up to a number equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. period. That you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You and the chosen creatures can communicate telepathically to each other while connected, while all are. You and the chosen creatures can communicate telepathically with each other while they are within a number of miles of each other equal blah. To understand each other, each creature must mentally use a language the others know. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level. You can choose to tap 1 mana to continue sustaining the effect while you maintain concentration, ending when you expend the mana. You can choose to tap 1 mana to continue sustaining. This is 3rd level, right? 2 mana to continue. Yeah, let's make it 1. Continue tapping 1 mana to continue sustaining the effect while you maintain concentration, ending when you expend the mana. So you tap mana, so you have mana. When you expend it, like when you cast a fireball, you expend it. You just basically toss it into your discarded pile, and then you regain it later. But when you're maintaining concentration on a spell, because your concentration DC increases by the amount of mana that you have tapped, when you tap mana, it's not expended yet, but it's not in your mana pool anymore. It's tapped. It's in between. Sometimes you can untap that mana and regain it in your mana pool. Most of the time, when you tap mana, it's maintaining concentration. When you let the concentration go or your concentration is disrupted, the concentration, the mana is expended, and then it like normal. But you use tap mana to keep a bookkeeping track of how many points of mana do you have tapped, so you know what your concentration DC is. So, hey, what's up? Nightmare Warden. How you doing? Cheers. So yeah, the telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your... We're converting the 2024 Sorcerer subclasses into the color mana mechanics. So we have the full spell point Sorcerer, which I'll be publishing on the DMsGuild soon, TM. And so we're converting the classes that will be included with the spell point Sorcerer document. So level 3 variant, telepathic speech, and telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes. You can choose that 3rd level. You can have up to 2 mana tapped. So you'll be able to tap 1 mana to maintain, again, this will just last for, what is that, a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level? Awesome. See, the reason why we're doing this is because you're going to get Rary's Telepathic Bond at 9th level. So that's a 5th level spell. It requires 5 mana to cast it, but I don't think it's a concentration spell. Let's double check that real quick. Because it doesn't feel like it should be a concentration spell. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's like one of those like passive buff sort of things. So by 5th level, you can have 8 creatures, unlimited range, no concentration. At 1st level, we're giving you a number of creatures can be united based on your charisma, and it lasts a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level, but only costs 1 mana, but you have to maintain concentration on it. So by the time you get to 9th level, if you only have 4 people in your party, you could sustain all 4 of them for only 1 mana if you're willing to have 1 level of concentration on you, which of course is very fragile. But Rary's Telepathic Bond gives you 8, but it eats up 5 mana. It's considerably more. And again, you would have this for free for 9 minutes. And then you could choose whether you want to tap the mana to keep it going or not. You could just end the connection, but if you can't see them anymore, you can't reinitiate the telepathic bond with them. They have to be within 30 feet. Otherwise, that's when you turn on the sustained effect so that you can tap and maintain concentration on it. So you'll still be able to concentrate on up to 4th level spells otherwise. But yeah, so I think that pretty much cleans up the telepathic speech. I am thus content with it. 2 spaces. Psionic Sorcery. When you cast any level 1+ spell from your Sorcery spell feature, it requires no verbal or somatic components, and it requires no material components unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost specified for it. Or have a cost, unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost specified in it. Okay, that makes sense. Since all spell points are sorcery points now, and you can freely prepare spells or sorcerer or meta magic between the two, so you could have all 25 spells just be meta magic, and then you have just cantrips and your meta and your psionic spell list. Or you could have 25 spells and no meta magic. The 100 mana that you get over the course of 20 levels can be used on either one freely and together. So, Psionic Sorcery is good. Is there any changes that we have to make for Revelation in Flesh? You can unleash the aberrant truth hidden within yourself. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 sorcery point or more to magically alter your body for 10 minutes. For each sorcery point you spend, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effect of which lasts until the alteration ends. 1 inch, see invisible, gaseous. Okay, great. So all this stuff qualifies. So we have things to do with this, so we want to add it. If we didn't have to make any changes to it, we wouldn't have to include it, but we are going to make changes to it. So Revelations in Flesh. We don't have to make the changes, but we can, so we will. When you can unleash the aberrant truth and whatever. As a bonus action, I don't care about your flavor text. Get rid of the flavor text. Bonus action, you can spend 1 sorcery point. You can spend 1 mana or more to magically alter your body for 10 minutes. For each point spent, one point of mana. For each point you spend, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effect of which lasts until the aberration ends. Blah, 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 blah. Dark, 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 dark. Dark. You can as a bonus action, you can spend 1 or more points of mana. 1 or more points of mana to magically alter your body for 10 minutes. For each point you spend, you gain 1 of the magically alter your body, period. For each point you spend, you gain 1 of the following benefits of your choice, the effect of which lasts until the alteration ends. The effects last for 10 minutes. Or you can choose if you expend the mana, you can. Is it spend sorcery points? You can spend sorcery points. It's expend a spell slot. It's expend uses, but here it's spend. Why is it spend here, but expending spell slots? Is it expending spell slots? You can cast it by expending a spell slot. Why is it expending a spell slot, but only spending a sorcery point? Is that a grammatical error, or is there a technical reason that happens? I suspect the former, because they don't fucking tell me what level I get psionic sorcery at. Is it 6th level with psychic defenses? Is it 3rd level with telepathic speech? We have to go back to 2014 for us to tell us. I think they did this wrong. If anyone has a player's handbook out there, let me know. Is it like this in the player's handbook? Because this is fucking dumb. As a bonus action, you can spend. I think it's a typo, so I'm going to stick with expend. I've been using expend ever since I saw the language, just because I want to be compliant with it. But well, fuck them. I'm going to use expend for everything. So when I export this thing out to DriveThruRPG, I can call it spending instead of expending. For each point you spend, expend, hating on you, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice. The effect which lasts until the alteration ends. Blah, 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 blah. If you expend the mana, you can, if you expend the mana to create the effect, if you expend the mana to alter your body, if you expend the mana when you alter your body, the effects last 10 minutes. If instead you tap the mana, the effects last for as long as you maintain concentration. Because with this system, there is no duration for concentration. There's only... So, hold on. Let's go back real quick and revisit the document. 5-color mana system on DMsGuild. Welcome. Drop down here to the Core Mechanics book. Open up the free preview. Drop down to simplified durations. And again, we're going to update this entire book for 2024, so the layout's going to change, the amount of information. There's only three types of durations with this system. There's instantaneous, persistent, and concentration. Instantaneous effects, fireball, teleport, blip blam, it's done. Persistent effects last 24 hours. So any spell in the player's handbook with magic effects lasting longer than 24 hours retain their longer duration. Otherwise, the effect lasts until you finish a long rest. So like Contagion or something like that, like Sequester that lasts a month, or like Mass Suggestion lasts a month, then that has that duration. But like Rary's Telepathic Bond, for instance, we saw that it's a 5th level spell. It doesn't require, according to the player's handbook, it has a 1 hour duration, right? Let's go, 1 hour duration. But with the simplified durations, persistent, that would be considered a persistent spell, and it would last until you finish a long rest. So you turn on, it stays on. And then you can have a persistent spell, which you can, when you finish a long rest, where is it? Persistent spells can be disrupted by targeting the spell effect with the spell or similar means. A persistent spell can be detected by True Scene, detect magic aura, blah, blah, blah. If a persistent spell, such as Gias a Clone, targets a creature, other persistent spells, like, hold on. Persistent spell. Burn for days. There it is. If the caster chooses persistent spells that would end after completing a long rest, can remain in effect without having to cast the spell again. When you complete a long rest, you may burn mana equal expend. Burn is the old term. We're going to update it to expend, so I'll have to change the name of the feature. But you can expend the mana automatically when you finish your long rest, equal to the total level of persisted spells sustained. Spells that last longer than 24 hours don't require to burn for days. But when you do that, you automatically renew the spell. So if you're sleeping at the bottom of the sea with water breathing active as a persistent spell, when you wake up from your long rest, you can just choose to spend the mana again, and the effect remains active uninterrupted. This is particularly useful if you have Animate Dead with zombie crews going. You can just automatically burn the mana, and while that mana is gone, those zombies remain permanently loyal to you. Super fucking useful for necromancers. That's actually where this came from. And as we kept looking at it, it became more and more and more useful for more and more things. You basically put an enchantment on the thing, and then it sticks. So, anyway. There's that. Right, Bob's your uncle. There we go. So, Sonic Sorcery, Psychic Defenses, Revelation Flesh, that's now resolved. If instead you tap the mana when you alter your body, when you alter your body, the effects last for as long as you maintain concentration, period. There you go. 1, 2. And now we're into Warping Implosion. Do we need to change Warping Implosion? You can unleash a Space Warping Anomaly, Magic Teleport, 30 feet. You teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 120 feet of your spell. Immediately after you disappear, each creature within 30 feet takes force damage, ending in an unoccupied space as close to your former space as possible. On a successful save, takes half damage, no movement. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 sorcery points to restore your use of it. I could duplicate this effect to change sorcery points to mana, but it's reversible. It's the same thing, so we technically don't have to do that. But we technically don't have sorcery points in the book, so if it's making mention of it, we probably do. Let's go with Warping Implosion. This feature remains as detailed, remains unchanged, as detailed in the PHB, in PHB, in the PHB. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 mana. Expend 5 mana to restore your use of it. Okay, great. Aberrant is done. I'm perfectly content with that. Clockwork Sorcery. Let's check it out. How are we doing on time? It's almost 8 o'clock. How long are we going? Hour and a half? Hour and a half. Cool. All right, let's keep it up. Mic check, mic check. Okay, cool. Clockwork Sorcery. Cosmic Forces. When you reach sorcery level specified by Clockwork Table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 spells. In addition, consult the manifestation of order table and choose or randomly determine a way your connection to order manifests while you are casting any of your sorcerer spells. Neat. Restore balance. So 3, 6, 6,
10, no, 18, 14, 6, 3, 3. Okay, so Clockwork Cavalcade. Let's start at 14 and work our way down. You momentarily summon spirits of order to expunge disorder around you. As a magic action, you summon the spirits in a 30-foot cube originating from you. The spirits look like modrons or other constructs of your choice. The spirits are intangible and invulnerable, and they create the effects below within the cube before vanishing. Once you use this action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 7 sorcery points to restore your use of it. Heal. Spirit restore 100 hit points. Divide as you choose. Repair. Any damaged object that entirely fits within the cube. Every spell of level 6 or lower ends on creatures and objects of your choice in the cube. Cool. Okay. Clockwork Cavalcade. Don't have to make a lot of changes to it, but we do have changes. That's a great name, by the way. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the PHB. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend 7 mana. No action required. I guess that technically means yeah, there's too many alterations. We had to include the whole thing here because we're making alterations at the front end and we're making alterations at the back end. So we had to include, we just include the whole feature. But in like this, it's all the same. Except, why is this one only 5 mana? And the other one is 7 because this one does more damage. Sorry, this one does less damage and has less of an impact. Okay, I'm fair with that. Clockwork Cavalcade. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest unless you expend 7 points of mana. There. Because I'm not supposed to just cut whole swath chunks from the player's handbook and drop it into DMsGuild. I can do it in a very limited degree on a case-by-case basis. And generally, the way that I'm playing with these subclass features is within that margin of error. So that's why I'm dropping these things when I can, so that I'm respecting the nature of the DMsGuild rules of engagement. So Trance of Order. Let's see if we have to do anything with this. You gain the ability to align your consciousness with the endless calculations of mechanists. As a bonus action, you can enter this state for 1 minute. For the duration, attack rolls against you can't benefit from advantage. And whenever you take a d20 test, you can treat a d20 test encompasses the 3 main d20 rolls in the game: ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws. If something in the game affects d20 tests, it affects all 3 of these rolls. The DM determines whether a d20 test is warranted in a given circumstance. And for reference, additional sorcery option, magical guidance, 2 points. When a d20 test fails, when you fail a d20 test, is that a single word or is it 2? Yeah, when you fail a d20 test, capitalized, thank you. When you fail a d20 capitalized test, where'd my mouse go? There it is. Test, you can re-roll, potentially turning the failure to success. There. And so we don't need Seeking Spell.
updated better already. Enter this trance, and whenever you make a d20 test, you can treat a roll of 9 or lower on the d20 as a 10. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 sorcery points and no action. See how it's... This is at 10th level, and that's properly calibrated with 5 points. It makes me feel like that implosion ability used to be the 10th level ability, not the 14th. Pause and reflect on that. Huh. 5 points. Okay, well, I'm wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. Trance of Order. Yes, we do have a modification to that, so let's do so. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Copy. Paste. Yep, okay, Transformer, good to go. Bastion of Law. Bastion of Law. Not to be confused with a Law Bastion, which you might have like as a courthouse, starting at 5th level. This comes in at 6th level. You can tap into the grand equation of existence to imbue a creature with a shimmering shield of order. As a magic action, you can spend 1 to 5 sorcery points to create a magical ward around yourself or another creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. The ward is represented by a number of d8s equal to the number of sorcery points spent to create it. When the warded creature takes damage, it can expend a number of those dice, roll them, and reduce the damage taken by the total rolled on these dice. The ward lasts until you finish a long rest or until you use this feature again. Bastion of Law. As a magic action, you can expend sorcery points to create a magical ward around yourself or another creature that you can see within 30 feet of yourself. The ward is represented by a number of d8s. When the ward is created, takes damage, it expends a number of those dice, roll them, and reduce the damage taken by the total rolled on those dice. The ward lasts until you finish a long rest. When the warded creature takes damage, it can expend a number of those dice. It can expend a number of those dice. Any number of those dice. We need to rewrite that because I think that's a typo. It can expend a number of dice. I think it should be, because it would be a number of dice equal to something. I think that means any number of dice. I'm pretty sure. All right, Bastion of Law. I don't believe that was intentional. And I have very little faith in the quality of this document. If that is not yet painfully obvious. Was it Bastion of Law? Yeah. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I do not love WotC. I could give a shit about WotC. But I love D&D. You can tap into the grand equation of existence, blah, blah, blah. Skip your flavor text. Thanks, though. As a magic action, you can expend... Seriously? See, it says expend. Now it's expend mana. Expend spell. Are you not entertained? All right, so as a magic action, you can obviously expend. Mana up to your max sorcery limit. To create a magical ward around yourself or another creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. The ward is represented by a number of d8s equal to the number of sorcery points equal to the number equal to the amount of mana points of mana spent. Now it's spent again. Expended to create it. When the warded creature takes damage, it can expend, yeah, any number of those dice, roll them, and reduce the damage taken by the total rolled on those dice. The ward lasts until you finish a long rest or until you use this feature again. Oh god, until you use it again. The ward lasts, so if I use it on somebody else, it blips out. I now understand. Well, I still think that's appropriate. I think allowing a 6th level character to spend 5 sorcery points, just when you have a max spell slot of 3, I don't think you should be able to spend 5 sorcery points. Even with their old system, it's 2, 3. Oh no, yeah, 5. It is 5. Huh. I could see them allowing 5 points to be spent, but they're not scaling it as a 3rd level spell for 3d8 or a 6d8. It's 5 sorcery points. So I can see, but nope, that's not consistent because 10th level is 5 and 14th is 7. So they're being contrary there. Yep, I'm going with the patterns that I appreciate. So a 6th level character being able to put 2 points at a time for up to 16 damage, I'm okay with that. It can expend. Yeah, there we go. And then so Bastion of Law is good now. Restore balance. It's gonna be 3rd. Your connection to the plane of absolute order allows you to equalize chaotic moments. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself is about to roll a d20 with advantage or disadvantage, you can take a reaction to prevent the roll from being affected by advantage or disadvantage. Okay. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Restore balance. I'm just going to go ahead and give it the change because fun. Restore balance. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook. Once you have expended all uses of this feature, you can expend 1 point of mana when you take the reaction to use it again. Once you have expended all uses of this feature, you can expend 1 point of mana. Once you have used once you have expended all uses of this feature, how do they have it worded? Take the reaction to use it again. Okay, great. There. Yeah. That's consistent. Okay, hey, cool. So Clockwork's done. That wasn't so hard. Okay, Draconic. Let's go. Resistance. Your hit point maximum increases by 3, and it increases by 1 whenever you gain another sorcerer level. Parts of you are also covered in dragon-like scales. While you aren't wearing armor, your base armor class is 10 plus your dex and Ka. Altered, chromatic, command, and dragon breath. Cool. Fear Fly, Arcane Eye, Charm Monster, Legend Lore, Summon Dragon. These are great spells. Ooh, Summon Dragon. Neat. Let's see. Let's stop at the top end and go down. So, a Dragon Companion. You can cast Summon Dragon without a material component. You can also cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it in this way when you finish a long rest. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for that casting. I like that. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so it doesn't require concentration. You can cast Summon Dragon, 5th level spell, without material component. You can also cast it once without a spell slot. You can modify it so that it doesn't require concentration. Okay, I have to modify this because of the mana rule. Dragon Companion. Nope. You can also cast it once without expending mana, and you regain the ability to cast it in this way when you finish a long rest. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it when you when you cast the spell this way, you can modify it so it doesn't require when you cast the spell this way, it doesn't require concentration. And has a duration, and the duration becomes 1 minute for that casting. Because the spell has it's a concentration effect that has a duration, and the way that the mechanic, the color mana mechanics work. The simplified durations work with concentration. It's you tap a number of mana equal to the level of the spell to determine the DC of concentration that you're maintaining. So if you have a casting of it that doesn't require mana, it doesn't have to have a concentration duration. You have to assign a direct duration. Otherwise, the amount of mana that you would tap would dictate what its duration would dictate its cost. So you have to have, if it's going to be concentration, there has to be an effective amount of mana. Like for example, a cantrip is a 0 mana ability. One cantrip only has a concentration DC of 10,
But you can maintain concentration on multiple cantrips, just like you can maintain concentration on multiple spells. So every time you tack on another cantrip that you're maintaining concentration on, it ratchets your DC up 1 to your maximum spell level. So a 5th level bard could have 6 instances of minor illusion or thaumaturgy or any mixture of that running at the same time, but you wouldn't be able to maintain concentration on any leveled spells because you've already hit your cap of DC, concentration cap of 15. 10 plus the amount of mana tapped. There you go. And all that mana is simple. When you maintain concentration on that many cantrips, they're all simple they're all simple spells. So there's simple spells, common spells, high spells, and epic spells. Epic spell, there's only one epic level spell. It's Wish, but there's also a 10th level spell slot, which anything can be upcast to. You get it at 19th level, 10th level spell slot, or a 10th level spell, it's 10 mana, 19th level. It just scales. It's obvious. 17th level is 9th, etc. down. So anything at 6th level to 9th level is high magic. And you can only cast one level of high magic per long rest. So 1 6th, 1 7th, 1 8th, 1 9th, 1 10th. Epic level 10th, that's the Wish, which technically comes in. High magic is technically level 6 through 10. Epic Wish is the actual only epic level spell, which you can use at 20th level. And when you do, you can change reality permanently, but you have to sacrifice mana permanently to make it stick. Kind of like a persistent spell, but it's forever. Persistent spell, you could technically disrupt it, by the way. The DC would be 20 plus the amount of mana spent to make it happen. And a sorcerer could spend up to 100 mana to make it happen. So the DC would be 120. It's unlikely that your character is going to break that magic, but a god could if you could get them to break it. But that's how Wish is. So you set impossible tasks, you find impossible solutions. So epic level magic is permanently burned, persistent effects that affects all of reality. High level spells are levels 6 through 10. You can only cast one of them per day each. Common magic is level 1 to 5, which you can cast repeatedly over and over again, obviously. And then there's simple magic, which includes cantrips and ritual spells. Ritual and cantrips that you maintain concentration on when you have to have mana tapped to be able to account for maintaining multiple levels worth of rituals that you're maintaining concentration on, or if you're maintaining multiple cantrips, you have to start stacking mana up to account for the additional mind load. But just one single cantrip doesn't require any mana at all. But in all these simple mana conditions, if you tap the mana, if nothing disrupts your concentration, when you decide to let the effect go, you untap the mana and add it back to your mana pool. So there you go. So those are the different types of degrees of magic, levels of power in magic. Simple, common, high, epic. Bam. Let's see. So we have companion dragon taken care of. There is a world where we could potentially make this a it's 18th level. You have access to 5th. Here you go. How about this instead? Alternatively, you can expend 10 mana when you cast the spell this way. It doesn't require concentration, and the duration becomes, you know what the answer is going to be, right? Persistent. So now it lasts 24 hours a day, and as long as that dragon stays alive and you leave that 10 mana burned, that dragon's your forever friend. You'll see that for the Ranger Drake Warden as well. So and for Beastmaster as well. There you go. So fun effect. The Sorcerer 5th level spell and 5 meta magic at
18th level makes that math work out. Super nice. I'm sorry. You don't have to do that with Ranger because the Beast Companion. Yeah, the Beast Companion costs 2 to resummon, and it's permanent for as long as it stays alive. So it's already persistent as a first level effect that costs 2 mana. So the system, yet again, being self-consistent with itself. I absolutely love how consistent the system is with itself. As a bonus action, you can cause Draconic Wings to appear on your back. The wings last for 1 hour or until you dismiss them. Like that. No action required. For the duration, you have a fly speed of 60 feet. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest unless you spend 3 sorcery points to restore your use of it. Cool. So, Dragon Wings, A-OK, change the condition, and we're good to go. And it's called Dragon Wings. Why that's a 14th level feature, I do not know. Dragon Wings. Let's go to... Copy. Is it short rest or long rest? One, two, three. Three points of mana. $18, $10. Elemental affinity is 6. Don't need it. There is no 10, only Zool. And 3, is there a reason for having third? Magic your body, blah, blah, blah. Aren't wearing armor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool, so we don't need that. And again, if a feature isn't mentioned, it isn't needed. I could just list all of them, say, as listed in the book, but that just feels redundant, you know? So why bother? Okay, Clockwork, Aberrant, Wild, and yeah, Wild Magic Sorcery is the only one we have left. Kick ass. Let's get it done, and then we're going to drop for the day. I'll be back tomorrow at lunchtime around, I want to say around 2 o'clock Seattle time, which will be 5 o'clock East Coast time. We're going to be back, and I think we're going to monkey around with the Warlock. I don't think we have to make a lot of changes to the Warlock, but actually we do, because we have to go into invocations and all that other crap. So yeah. We'll go through and we'll do that. So Wild Mage, here we are. Tame Surge. Immediately after you cast a sorcery spell with a spell slot. I feel like we have to come back and reference this later. So let's go back up here. Wild Magic Surge. Your spellcasting can unleash surges of untamed magic once per turn. You can roll 1d20 immediately after you cast a Sorcerer's spell. If you roll a 20, roll on the Wild Magic Surge table to create an effect. If the magical effect is a spell, it is too wild to be affected by your meta magic. Copy. One moment. Next minute, you gain 5 hit points at the start of each of your turns. Disadvantage. Transport to another astral plane. Resistance. Potted plant.
Yeah, okay. So, Wild Magic. Is that what it's called? Wild Magic Surge? Right. Not that way. That's it. Once per turn, you can roll 1d20 immediately after you cast a Sorcerer's spell modified by meta magic. Because there are no spell slots anymore. And what I'm going to do is say, when you cast a spell without meta magic, you can get a Wild Surge effect. That doesn't seem to make sense. It feels like what should happen is when you tamper with the spell using meta magic, you trigger a surge. Which means that if you cast a spell with a cantrip, or a cantrip modified by meta magic, roll a 1d20. Is that what they say? Is that how the kids say it? Once per turn, you can roll 1d20. You can roll 1d20 immediately after you cast a Sorcerer spell or cantrip modified. Cantrips are technically spells. A Sorcerer spell modified by meta magic. Period. If you roll a 20, roll on the Magic Surge table to create a magical effect. If the magical effect is a spell, it cannot be modified by that just makes sense. Yeah. If you roll a 20, roll on the Magic Surge table in the player's handbook in the PHB to create a magical effect. Wild Magic Surge table. The Wild Magic Surge table remains as detailed in the PHB with the following exceptions. Action turn, random spell. Let's see. Let's start at the very end and work our way forward, because I think that's where the weirdness is going to be. Gain hit points. Gain 2 to 10 hit points. Here you gain lowest level expended spell slot. On a 4, one of your allies' choice within 30 feet. You regain all of your expended sorcery points. On a 6, all the effects of rows 17 to 20 affect you simultaneously.
of row 17 to 20. What the fuck does that mean? Five. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh wait, the row of 17 to 20? Is that an actual... You're surrounded by a faint etheric music. Your size increases by 1. You grow a long beard. You must shout when you speak. And illusionary butterflies flutter everywhere. Your eyes appear on your forehead. Pink bubbles float from your mouth. Your skin turns a vibrant shade of blue for 24 hours, unless it's ended by a remove curse. So that's what it means. Rows 17 to 20. That's what it means. Jesus Christ. Okay. One of your allies. It's insane. One ally of yours choice with a font regains their lowest level spin. Spell slot on a roll of 4. 97 to 100. Four. There. Like this. Oh, fuck you. Just take the whole goddamn thing. Roll 1d6. On a roll of 1, gain hit points. 2. 3 of you gains hit points. On a 3. Bold. Bold. No. Bold. 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 Okay, you regain. Knock it off, wiggle fingers. Let's, there we go. 3, you regain 1d4 points of mana. On a 4, one of your allies of your choice within 300 feet of you regains 1d4 points of mana. This is a first level. This is a first level thing. Regains a number of regains a number of mana points. A number of points. Yeah, that's clumsy. A number of regains. A number of points of mana. A number of points of mana. Blech. Regains. Maybe it should just be mana. And maybe I should just leave it as mana instead of points of mana. Regains mana points? That sounds stupid as fuck. Oh, regains points of mana equal to your proficiency modifier.
because you have a guaranteed at least 2 points when you're 3rd level. Even if you're an Arcane Trickster or Eldritch Knight. There we go. On a 5, you regain points of mana equal to your max spell level. There. Roll. Result. Is that the only exception? Let's go back and trawl the list. Within 5 feet of you. You can teleport up to 60 feet. You have frightened condition. If you die within the next hour, you immediately revive. For the next minute, any flammable object isn't being worn. You can cast a random spell. If the spell normally requires concentration, it doesn't require concentration in this case. The spell lasts for its full duration. Roll 1d10 to determine the spell. Infusion, Fireball, Fog, Fly, Dream, Levitate, Magic Missile. Cast a level 5 spell. Polymorph, cast on yourself. And if you fail the saving throw, you turn into a goat. If it doesn't require concentration in the case, the spell lasts for its for the duration listed in the player's handbook. So 57 to 60. Nope. In this case, the spell lasts for the duration listed in the PHB. You cast a random spell as detailed for this result in the PHB. For the full duration listed in the PHB. There we go. That one's fixed. One extra action. +2 AC. Choose within 30 feet. Have the invisible condition for 1 minute.
I can't. I literally. I'm colorblind. I literally. That's nearly impossible for me to read. I can read it fine. Yeah, if I'm over. Yeah, if I'm running over that, that just disappears. It just flat out disappears. I can see it when it's not there though. That's good. Yeah, Jesus. Teleport 20 feet. 0 hit point. Resist all damage. For the next minute, don't roll the spell's damage dice for the damage. Instead, use the highest number possible for each damage die. Thank you, timely timer. What time is it? 8:30. Okay. I'll be done here very, very soon. But we have new language to consider. Beep, burp, burp, burp. For maximize spell. When you cast a spell that deals damage, instead of rolling dice to determine damage, to determine the total, use the highest number possible for each damage die. There you go. Better coding. If I can use their own language against them, I mean with them, then I want to. For your spell, all spells with a casting time of an action have a casting time of a bonus action instead. That's sick. You're subjected to the effect that lasts for 1 minute unless the description says otherwise. Roll 1d8 to determine the effect. Is it a d10 down here? Copy. I found a better way to write this. A cut. You recast a random spell. No, I don't need that. As detailed for this result, but yeah, it's self-explanatory. That's fine. And let's go back down to 17 to 20. Disadvantage. Hit points. Flump for stuff. Roll every minute. Holy shit, that's great. Okay. I wonder if there's a way for you to pop mana just to make this thing happen at higher levels. So let's see what happens. Tide of Chaos. I'm sure this is 6. Oh, wait, no. Tide of Chaos, where is that coming at? I'm going to have to check the old player's handbook to find out. Tides of Chaos, first level. Thank you. Copy. Tides of Chaos. Taking level 1, you can manipulate. Starting at first level, starting whenever. Okay, wrong book. Tides of Chaos. You can manipulate chaos itself by giving yourself advantage on one d20 test before you roll the d20. Once you do so, you must cast a sorcerer spell with a spell slot or finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. If you do cast a sorcerer's spell with a spell slot before you finish a long rest, you automatically roll on the Wild Search table. Oh ho ho! Self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, we definitely want to have this one included. This one's good.
I think I have a much simpler way of wording this. I'm very excited to do so. Ready, set, go. You can, getting rid of flavor text, give yourself advantage on one d20 test before you, once you do so, you must cast, once you do so, you must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again, or modify a spell with meta magic. If you do, if you do modify a spell, if you do so, that's better. You automatically, isn't this just better? Automatically roll on the Wild Magic Surge table. Chef's kiss. When you expend, once you do so, you must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again, or modify a spell with meta magic. You must finish a long rest or modify a spell with meta magic before you can use this feature again. If you do modify a spell with meta magic before if you do modify a spell with meta magic to regain this feature, if you do modify a spell with meta magic to regain this feature, you automatically roll on the Wild Magic Surge table. Because using meta magic triggers the spell, triggers the effect. There you go. It just makes more sense that meta magic, the thing that modifies magic, would create would create wild magic. Anyway, that's my 5 cents. So that's level 3, and now we have Bid Luck 6. Bid Luck. You have the ability to twist fate using your wild magic. Immediately after, another creature you can see rolls the d20 for a d20 test. You can take a reaction and spend 1 mana and expend 1 point of mana to roll 1d4 and apply the number rolled as a bonus or penalty, your choice, to the d20 roll. Good to me. And now we jump to 14, which is Controlled Chaos. You gain a monochrome of control over the surges of your wild magic. Whenever you roll on the wild magic table, you can roll twice and use either number. We do not need to list Controlled Chaos. It is fine as is. And Tamed Surge. Immediately after you cast a Sorcerer's spell with a spell slot, you can create an effect of your choice from the Wild Magic Surge table instead of rolling on that table. You can choose any effect in the table except for the final row. And if you choose effects, and if the chosen effect involves a roll, you must make it. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Immediately after you cast a sorcery spell with a sorcerer spell slot, you can create an effect of your choice from the Wild Surge table instead of rolling on the table. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you... Okay, well, I gotta repeat it all because spell slot doesn't qualify anymore. Team Surge. Copy. Pasta. This feature remains unchanged as detailed in the player's handbook. Nope, that's not true. Immediately after you cast a sorcery spell, is that what it says? Immediately after? Immediately after you cast a sorcery spell. There you go. Immediately after you modify a spell with meta magic, you can create an effect of your choice from the Wild Magic Surge table instead of rolling on that table. Choose from, you can immediately, God, that's such redundant language. Instead of rolling on that table. You can roll on the Wild Magic table instead of rolling on it. How about you just say it? Since it's self-referential. Jesus fuck. You can choose, sounds like, it's almost like AI wrote this. You can choose any effect in the table except for the final row, and if the chosen effect involves a roll, you must make it. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Yeah, I'm good with that. There you go. Hey, we just finished all the Sorcerer subclasses. We did it. Yay. We're the bestest. There you go. So technically we have everything that we need to be able to assemble and publish the spell point sorcerer. I'm going to hold off on it just a little bit, just so I have full access to DMG. And we also want to find another meta magic, but I am out of time. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably make time for that. Maybe we'll make some time for that tomorrow at lunch to go hunt for meta magic feats. That might be fun. And what am I thinking of? Yeah, so I'll be back at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Actually, I should be back on tomorrow morning. I'm feeling pretty. I'm shaking off the sick, so I should be back tomorrow morning for us to continue working on Eberron art. And then from there, we will be back at lunch at 2 o'clock. I'll be back on Saturday morning to continue working on Warlock. No, we're going to work on Warlock at lunch tomorrow, I think. We'll clean up the rest of the Sorcerer, Spell Point Sorcerer, and it's my open workbench. So let's work on stuff for a few hours. So we'll have fun. Anyway, that's it, guys. I am out of here for nows. And yeah, I'll see you guys on. Thanks a lot. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Laters.